Erwin, how are you?
Good morning. Fine, thank you, and you?
Good. Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ted.
Oh, good morning, Ted. Good. You got to go to sleep earlier.
I gotta wake up. Gotta wake up. I think I got out of the house yesterday around 9:30 at night. Otherwise, I was in the house the whole day.
We finished watching a program called Hostage. It must have been like 12 chapters.
Oh.
Hey, Bob. Morning.
Morning, Harvey.
Good morning.
Morning, Ted.
Morning, good morning.
Morning, Bob.
Morning, Ted.
Morning, Bob.
How are we? We're doing well. We're hanging in there.
Trying.
You have any other choice?
Keep smiling.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we used to have those little cards for us. You had to keep smiling.
Oh, I still do.
That's what's missing.
You need to keep smiling, that's for sure. Yeah, Ted, I didn't want Ted to be disappointed.
There we are. Okay. Yeah, my picture disappeared again. That's it.
Disappeared.
That's great. I remember those. Yeah. That's what we're missing.
See,
There you
Yeah.
are.
you gave me an idea here. Gave me a very good idea.
That's it. You should use that as his backdrop.
That's right. How did you know?
Run your hat.
Hmm.
So how many people on the other side, since you guys are on the other side, Ted's here, have decided they're all bringing their chairs to the pool? They're bringing their own chairs.
It said specifically you can't do
You're
that.
not allowed to.
I said, that's perfect. You guys bring your chairs, and guess what? 3 minutes later, you be no swimming pool.
No,
That's it.
that was very specific that they can't bring their own chairs.
I know. Well, we'll see.
And now the main pool though is open now
Yeah.
completely? No restriction, the main pool?
No, it's restricted, yeah. You
It's
got
a
to
number of
register.
people. You don't make appointments, but I think they can just control it by the number of people.
Number of people.
Right. Okay.
Why did they, how many, I don't understand how they picked 30 for Ainsley, just for the hell of it. What is it, the square footage or something? I don't know, I couldn't figure that out.
Ted knows all of those things.
No, Ted knows that. Ted, how'd they pick the number for each place?
I'm not in a position to share that with you.
Yeah, in other words, you don't know.
No, it was somebody said they did a calculation based on the
That's what I said, can't
Social
square
distance.
footage. Yeah, okay. Good morning, Rabbi. All right, let's see.
audio is connecting.
All right, everybody here this morning?
Everyone's here.
Good. I had a problem getting on to Zoom this morning. I'm not sure why.
Yeah,
That's
you
because-
had to
Because
update.
up in the upper second box here,
Yeah.
Larry Fish has blocked you out when he comes on. He comes in as a host. And he doesn't transfer it to you.
Yeah, he just sent me a message that I'm the host now.
Ah, thank you.
That's a different religion that works with the host.
Right. The host can
Very
control
good,
it
Ted.
and do it
Very
again.
good. Okay. Very appropriate because we're going to talk about bones today.
Oh,
Okay. All right. We're on Pei Aleph, Amud Aleph. Again, I would like to try. I can't seem to find short amudim for us to be able to get more together, but we'll do the best we can. Remember, we're still dealing with a number of Mishnayot that focus on measurement of items were you to carry it out from one domain to another domain on Shabbat. What would make one chayiv, obligated to bring a chatas in certain situations? Okay, so our new Mishnah is again going to deal with a similar situation. Okay, on Pei Aleph Amud Aleph, the very top of the of the Amud, our Mishnah starts. Matnitin, our Mishnah teaches etzem, a bone. So what has to be the size of the bone if one carries it out, right, to make one chayev? Kedei la'asod tarvad, if it's large enough to make it into a spoon. Okay. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, kedei la'asod mimenu chaf. Okay. Rabbi Yehuda says instead, it's large enough to make it a chaf. Now, what is a chaf? Well, according to some, it's a kind of key. Okay, right? Or others want to say it's the, I'll call them the teeth that are on the keys. Okay, because the key in their day was a much larger, complicated item where it was curved and then it had teeth that went into the actual lock, because the whole key again had to fit inside the door. Zechuchit, if he was carrying out a piece of glass, right? Kedei ligror bo rosh hakarkar. In other words, that was a situation if it was large enough for him to use it as a kind of utensil to scrape off the top of a bobbin, okay, or a spindle. Okay? Soror, or Evan, a stone or a pebble. How large did it have to be? Some want to explain this also as a wood chip. Okay, Kadei lizrok ba'of, large enough to be able. Sorry. Sorry. To throw at a bird. Okay. Rabbi Eliezer bar Yaakov Omer, he says, Kadei lizrok b'behema, large enough to throw at an animal, and the animal will feel the impact of that stone. Okay. Gemara, says the Gemara now, Lamemra, the Shiura de Rabbi Yehuda Nafish, are we saying that the measurement of Rabbi Yehuda is greater? Hakarmalan de Shiura de Rabbanan Nafish, but don't we hold that the measurement of the rabbis is usually the greater? Amar Ula Chafe Potachet. So as Ula is saying, no, what we're talking about here, sorry, is actually the teeth of the key. Okay. Others want to explain that it's depends on how large the lock is. What will something that will fit into the holes of the lock? Okay, the sections of metal inside the lock. Okay, let's go on. Tanu Rabbanan, says a Braita, Chafe Potachat. If we're talking about those loose teeth, let's say of a key, Tahorin, they're not susceptible to Tuma. Kav'an b'potachat, but if one has attached them to as I said, a larger item that makes it into a true key, right, and therefore they become like part of the utensil, Tme'in, they are susceptible to Tuma. Okay? Vishalgal, okay, but if we're talking about a lock and we're talking about the door that has certain metal sections, okay, right? Afal pi shechibran badelet, even though one has attached them into the door, v'ka'av an b'masmerim, and set them firmly there, nailed them in with nails, tahorim, those, let's call them teeth still, are not susceptible to tuma. Why? Shekol ha'mechubar lekarka, anything that is attached to the ground, harehu kekarka, that it is like the ground itself. Okay? And therefore, it's not susceptible to tuma. Next piece from our Mishnah, zichuchit, the piece of glass, kadei legror bo. In other words, we said that was enough to scrape off the top of a bobbin or a spindle, right? Tanas is a braita. Sichuchit, slightly different language, spelling. Kadei liftsoa ba shnei nimim ke'achad. That's if it's a piece of glass large enough to be able to split two threads on a loom, okay, as if it's a single act, then it is that's large enough to be over on carrying, okay? Plus the fact that you're using the piece of glass as a utensil, okay? All right, next example from our Mishnah, Tzror o Evan. We said that was perhaps either a wood chip or a piece of stone large enough to throw at an animal, okay? Kedei lizrok ba'of, initially our Mishnah, enough to throw at a bird. Rabbi Elazar v'chulei, and Rabbi Elazar disagreed, namely the following. Amar Rabbi Yaakov, says Rabbi Yaakov, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, in the name of Rabbi Yochanan, Bahu shemer gashet ba, that the animal will feel it. The kama shiuro, and how big is that? Tanya, we teach in another braita, Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov Omer, Mishkal asara zuz, that the weight has to be 10 zuz. Okay? And so if we say that one zuz is roughly 3.5 grams, okay? So you're talking a fairly good size stone or a wood chip. Okay. Next, we go on. Zonin al lebei midrasha. Zunin went. Zunin is the name of a person. Okay, and he was a lesser known sage. Okay, went to the base midrash. Amar lahohin. He said to them, Rabotai, gentlemen, avanim shel beit hakisei. We're now going to get into a long discussion, okay, of what goes on in the restroom and what one can use after defecating to wipe oneself, okay? So stones that are used in the outhouse. I'm going to explain it that way because that gives us a better idea, okay? What do? Is that a separate domain from outside? Can you pick up the stones and carry them into the outhouse and you're not over on going from one domain to another? Okay? So that's really what he's asking. Shi'uran bekama, what's their measurement? Amrulo, they said to him, kizayat, they might be the size of an olive, ke'agos, the size of a nut, ukebetza, or the size of an egg, right? Implying that, okay, that would say that this is the standard. If you have at least 3 stones that together they weigh that size, then you're over. Okay? Amar laho. So he said to them, V'chi tortani yachnis. Shall I take into the outhouse a scale in order to measure them? Nimnu v'gamru malo hayad. They counted and they took a vote, okay, and they decided that a handful of stones is what they're talking about. Okay, Tanya and the Braita teaches. Rabbi Yossi Omer Kazayat. Rabbi Yossi said that a stone had to measure a olive, ke'egos, or the size of a nut, ukebetza, and the size of an egg. Rabbi Shimon Rabbi Yossi Omer Mishum Aviv, in the name of his father, Melo Hayad, a handful. Okay, next section of our text continues on this topic. Tanu Rabbanan, a Braita taught on Shabbat, right? Shlosha avanim mikur zalot. If you take 3 rounded stones, okay, into the outhouse with you. Mutar lahachnis leveit hakisei. It's permitted to bring them into the outhouse. V'kama shiuran, and what's their measure? Rabbi Meir Omer, says Rabbi Meir, ke'egos, the size of a egos, the size of a nut, okay, is what he argues. Right? Rabbi Yehuda Omer, kibetza, he says it's the size of an egg. Right? Rafram, Amar Rafram Bar Papa, Amar Rav Chista, in the name of Rav Chista, kemachloket kan, kach machloket be'etrog. The same way they have a argument on the size of we'll call it an outhouse stone. So likewise, there's an argument on the size of an etrog, a valid etrog. So the Gemara says, wait a second, okay? You say it's the same argument? Hatam. But there we have a Mishnah. Hacha Braita. Here we only have a Braita. In other words, a Mishnah, of course, is always thought to be more authoritative, right, than a Braita, right? So the Gemara says, Ella kimachloket be'etrog, kach machloket kan. Just as the machloket, the argument is there in regards to a size of a acceptable etrog. So here they have an argument the size of an acceptable stone to carry into the outhouse. Okay, continuing on this topic. Amar Rav Yehuda, avalo et pious. Okay, not to bring in pious. So the Gemara asks, naturally, my pious, what do we mean by pious? Amar Rabbi Zera, says Rabbi Zera, karshine bavlaita. We're talking about clods of Babylonian earth. Okay, the reason is that Babylonian earth apparently had a lot of pebbles in it, and that could certainly cause one a lot of discomfort trying to wipe oneself with that. Okay, again, Amar Rava, Asur lemashmesh betzror b'Shabbat. Rava is saying it's forbidden to use a wood chip on Shabbat. Okay, and what's the purpose? Kederech shemeshmashmesh b'chol, the way one would use it on a weekday. Okay. Now, some want to suggest it was used as a suppository. Okay. Mar Zutra demurred, right? And what did he say? Mat kifla Mar Zutra, he challenged. Listakin, you want somebody to put themselves, their health in danger. Okay. Kala'achar yad. No, we're talking about using it in an unusual manner. Okay? That's what we're talking about. In other words, not in the normal manner that one would use it on weekdays. Next. Now, Amar Rabbi Yana, says Rabbi Yana, Im yesh makom kavua lebeit hakise. Okay, if you have a fixed place for the outhouse, for the, right? What happens? Milo yahayad. Then we're talking about a handful of stones. Im lav, if not, kechreya meducha. Okay, then how much can he bring? How many stones? Kechreya meducha. Only the number of stones that would add up to the size of a small leg of a mortar. Okay? Kitana shabisamim. They have a kind of a spice mortar, all right? And a small stone that would be equal to the size of one of the legs of that kind of mortar is permitted. Amar Rav Sheshet. Rav Sheshet says, Im yesh aleha ed. What about the fact if you have a stone and there's some indication that the stone has evidence on it that it was used previously for cleaning oneself? Okay, it's permitted. Meitive. A challenge is raised, right? Asarat varim mevi'im et ha'adam lidei tachtoniot, says this Braita. Okay, there are 10 things that lead a person to hemorrhoid problems. Ve'elu hein, and they are the following, says the Braita. Ha'ochel et hakanim, one who eats the bulrushes, the leaves of bulrushes. Va'alei gefanim, or one who eats the tendrils of vineyards. V'lulavei gefanim, or one who eats again the branches from vineyards. Right? Umorigei behema b'lo melech, or the rough sections of an animal. In other words, a part of the animal that has rough spots on it, like the tongue, okay, of an animal without salt. The shidro shel dag, or the spine of a fish. V'dag maliach shelo bishel kol tzarcho, or salted fish that hasn't been sufficiently cooked. V'hashoteh shomrei yayin, or one who drinks the dregs of wine. V'hamekaneach besid uvecharasit, or one who, as we said, wipes himself with either lime or with clay. Bitzrosh kinech bo chavero, or with a wood chip that was used by somebody else. Okay, right? V'yeshomrim, there are those who also say, afatole atzmo bebeit hakise, and even one who overly forces oneself in terms of trying to make in the outhouse on the toilet, right? Now, lo kasha, okay? So now the Gemara responds to that Braita. That's not necessarily a difficult situation. We've referred to the question of what happens if one discovered a stone that had been used previously. Ha bilach, ha biyavesh. Here we're talking about not using a stone that's still moist versus using a stone that's dry. Okay? V'ibayat ema, or if you want, I would say, kan mitzad echad, v'kan mishnei tzadi, or a situation where I might say the stone was used on one side, or whether it was used on both sides. Okay, right? Another example, v'ibayat ema, or if you want, I would say, ha didei, ha dechavre. One is a stone that belonged to him that he had used previously. One was a stone that belonged to his neighbor. Amar le Abaye, and Abaye says as follows to Rav Yosef: Yardu aleha gshamim, v'nishtash tishu. Okay, what happens if rain fell on this stone and it sort of washed away any stain that it could have been on the stone, okay, of being used? Mahu, what's the situation there? Amarle, im haya rishumin nikar. He says to him, if it was still possible to see any kind of marks on it, per mutar, it would be permitted. Now, going on. Vaimine Rava bar Rav Shila. So Rava bar Shila asks the following as we go to Rav Chisda in the top of the next Amud, right? So we have a situation, let's say now, remembering that homes in Eretz Yisrael, for the most part, had flat roofs. And let's assume one was able to arrange so they had their outhouse or their privy on the roof. Okay? So the question the Gemara asks now, he's asking, Mahu laha'alotam acharav lagag. What about bringing these stones up on the roof? Okay? Again, on Shabbat, is it a situation of transferring something from one domain to another? All right? Amarle, he said to him, Gadol kvod habriot shedoche et lo ta'aseh shebetorah. Great, he says, is the issue of human dignity, that it actually overcomes or supersedes a lo ta'aseh, a lav of the Torah. Okay, let's go on now. We're going to continue with this topic somewhat. Yativ Merimar, Merimar was sitting. V'ka'amar la lahashma'ata. Okay, and he was reporting over this particular discussion. Eitive Ravina Lamerimar. And Ravina responded with a challenge using a braita to Merimar. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, says Rabbi Eliezer, Notil Adam Kesam Mishulafanav Lechatzot Bo Shinav. Okay? He says one may take a wood chip, okay, that's lying before him, okay, and use it to clean his teeth, okay, to pick his teeth with, right? The Chachamim Omrim, but the sages say, Lo yito ela min ha'avus shel behema, that the sages say, no, one cannot pick up just any wood chip, but only one that is already found, prepared, if you will, in a trough of an animal. In other words, that's inside a water trough, okay, or along by the water trough, okay? Because the question is if it's designated for use and therefore available, or if it's not prepared, it's considered muktzah, okay? Hachi hashta. So what do we have here? Asks the Gemara. Hatam adam kovea makom l'seudah. Normally, says the Mishnah, a person usually sets aside a place for his meal. Namely, he prepares everything he needs for his meal, and that might include toothpicks. Okay? For example, Hacha here, Adam kovea makom lebeit hakise. Does a person normally set aside a place for a outhouse, a privy, a right? When he has to go, he has to go, seems to be the message, okay? Amar Rav Huna, says Rav Huna, continuing this discussion, okay? Asur lefanot b'sadeh nir b'shabbat. It is forbidden to defecate, okay, and to clean oneself there in a plowed field on Shabbos. Why? Because the implication is one might go out in the field, and since there are holes in the field, one might fill in the hole, okay? The act of defecation, okay? Ma'itama, what's the reasoning? Ilema mishum devasha. If we say it's because he's simply treading down on the field, destroying mounds, right? Afilu bechol nami. Then on weekdays, that's also, he shouldn't be doing it then, okay? The ela mishum asavim, or if you say it's because of the grass that's growing there, va'amar reish lakish, tzror she'alu bo asavim, mutar lekanech ba. But it's Reish Lakish who says that a wood chip, okay, if he picks it up and it has grass attached to it, it's permitted to use it to wipe oneself. But he also says, V'hatalesh mimena b'shabbat. But if one removes the grass attached to it on Shabbat, chayav chatat, that he is obligated in a chatas. Ela dilma nakit me'ilayi. Okay? No, says the Gemara. Possible that what did he do is he took it from a higher place, the shada latatai, and he throws it away in a lower place. Namely, he still winds up filling a hole there in the plowed field. Okay? Umechayev mishum deraba, and therefore he would be considered chayev over as based on the view of Rava. The Amar Rabba, as Rabba said, haitalo guma, if one has a hole, utmama, and fills it in, but by it inside the house, chayav mishum boneh. He is over because of the av malacha of building. Bisadeh, were he to fill it in out in the field, chayav mishum choresh. Then he would be over again based on the av malacha of choresh, of part of harvesting, okay, of threshing. Sorry. Okay, coming back now to an earlier discussion in the excuse me, in the Gemara. Gufa, right? Back to our earlier text. Amar Reish Lakish said, Shror sha'alu bo asavim, a wood chip, we said, that has grass attached to it. Mutar lekanech ba, it's permitted to use it to wipe oneself. Okay? Right? What happens? V'hatolesh mimena b'Shabbat, but one who removes the grass on it on Shabbat, chayav chatat. We said is obligated to bring a chatas. Amar Rav Papi, says Rav Papi, Shma mina, it seems we can learn from this statement of Reish Lakish, right? Mida Reish Lakish. Hi parpisa, if I have a perforated pot, okay? You know how sometimes some flower pots, okay, have pots for plants, have holes in the bottom, okay? So that's what we're talking about. Share letatule should be permitted to be carried then. That's what he seems to, okay, to be able to be carried, okay? Right. Even though, okay, in other words, if you pick it up off the ground, even though you're picking it up off the ground, isn't it going to separate some of the roots of the plant that maybe went through the pot and attached to the ground? Matkifla Rav Kahana. Rav Kahana challenged him with a braita. Im amru letzorech, yamru shalo letzorech. If you're saying it was for a real necessity, are you going to say it can be done when there is no necessity? Parpisa o'il va'ata lidan, lema be milta. So now Amar Abaye, okay, says as follows, okay? Since you're talking about a parpisa, okay, this perforated pot, okay, I'll say something about it, okay? Hayamunach al gabe karka. Let's say that it, okay, lying there on the ground, right? Vehinicho al garbe yetedot. And one puts it on pegs or on a stand. Mechayev mishum tolesh. One is possible that he could be over, okay, because of detaching. Haya munach al gabe yetedot. If, however, the potted plant is on a stand, on pegs, v'hinicho al gabe karka, and he puts it down onto the ground, chayav mishum noteya. He may be over doing so on Shabbat because of planting. Okay. Now, what happens? Okay, the question is, though, would he be guilty, okay, and have to bring then a korban chatas? Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Says Rabbi Yochanan, asur lekaneach becheres b'Shabbat. Rabbi Yochanan gives us back to our original topic. It is forbidden, he said, to wipe oneself with earthenware shards, you know, broken pieces of pottery, okay, on Shabbat. My Tama, what's the reasoning? Ilema mishum sakana. If you say it's because of a danger, afilu b'chol nami, then even on weekdays, right? Ve'ela mishum kshafim, but rather because of witchcraft. Afilu b'chol nami lo. If that's the case again, because on weekdays we shouldn't do it. Ve'ela mishum chashrat nimi, but maybe because it's going to remove one's hairs. Devar she'ein mitkavenhu. But the Gemara says, well, wait a second. Isn't that normally permitted because it's not the intent? When the end is not in the intent, you haven't actually committed an act of work, and therefore it's not an act of something that's over. Amar lahu Rav Natan bar Oshaya. This is Rav Natan bar Oshaya. Gavra Rabba Amar Milta. A great man said something in this regard. Nima ba ta'ama. And let's use this to give us a reason, an explanation. Okay? Lo mibaye bechol da'asur. It's not necessary to say that on weekdays it's forbidden. Aval b'Shabbat, but on Shabbat, o'il ve'ika Torat kli alav shapir dami kamashmalan. But on Shabbat, since we're saying in that situation, okay, we have designated that potsherd as if it is like a utensil, okay? He comes to tell us all the more so that that's not appropriate to be used on Shabbat. Okay, let's go on. Rava matnela mishum hashrat nimin. Rava taught this braita because based on the issue of removing of the hairs. V'kashale the Rabbi Yochanan ad the Rabbi Yochanan. And as a result, he had a contradiction between one statement of Rabbi Yochanan and another statement of Rabbi Yochanan. Mi amar Rabbi Yochanan asur lekanech becheres b'Shabbat. Did Rabbi Yochanan actually say that it is forbidden to wipe oneself with earth potsherds on Shabbat? Alma davar she'ein mitkaven asur. This would seem therefore to imply that even when something is done without the intention, it's still forbidden. V'hamar Rabbi Yochanan. Didn't Rabbi Yochanan himself say, halacha kistam mishnah, that the law is generally, okay, like a stam mishnah, right? Utznan, and it was taught in a mishnah, nazir chofeif umirpas peis. A Nazirite, right? When he's cleansing his hair, okay, he can part it, his hair, okay, with his hand, aval lo sorek, but not with a comb, okay? Ella mechavarta kiderav Natan bar Oshaya. No, it must be then, clearly according to the view of Rav Natan bar Hoshaya. So how do we say, what does this have to do then with witchcraft? Mike Shafim, what reference is there to witchcraft? Ki had the Rav Chisda Rabba bar Rav Huna, like the situation of Rav Chisda and Rava bar Huna. Havu ka'azle ba'arba, and they were traveling in a boat. Amru laho hahi matronita, and a certain woman, okay, non-Jewish woman, said to them, Odvan bahadaichu velo odvuha. Let me sit next to you, but they did not allow her to sit next to them. Amra ihi milta. She said some words, in other words, some sort of incantation. asarta la'arba. And it made the boat stand still. It stopped the boat moving. Amru inhu milta. They said some sort of words, sort of a charm or incantation. Sharyuta. It freed up the boat, and the boat then continued. Amra laho. And she said then to them, Mai avid lacho. What is it possible that I can do to you? She said. Okay, and I've just got to go into my second volume. All right. Okay, what is it? In other words, what can I do to you? All right. Delo mekanech lechu bechaspa. Because you do not wipe yourselves, cleanse yourselves with potsherds. Velo katil lecho kina a menaichu. And you don't kill lice that's on your garments. Velo shalif lechu yarka. And you don't pull out or grab out vegetables, right? Va'achircho mikisha de asir gina. You don't pull vegetables out of the bundle or out of the bunch where the gardener has tied them together. Okay, the implication therefore being that one who does use potsherds for cleansing oneself, that's what the association is with witchcraft. Okay, now we've got a few more minutes. I'm just going to continue just a little drop further. Okay, Amar le Rav Huna lebra the Rava bere. Rav Huna said to Rava his son, "Mai tama lo shachicht kame de Rav Chisda." Okay, the mechadadin shemaate. What's the reason? Okay, showing that kids even back then don't always like their teachers or don't like always school. What's the reason that you didn't show up and attend the lessons of Rav Chisda? Because they are always so incisive. Okay, right, his lessons. Amarle, he answered them, Mai azilagabe. He says, why should I go and listen to him? Okay, dechi, since azlina legabe, when I go to him, motiv li b'mili de alma. Okay, all he does is talk about things of the world, general items. Okay, what we might call secular learning, according to some people. Amarle, he said to him, Man da'ayel lebeit hakise. Okay, like what happens when one goes to sit in the outhouse, lo litev bahedya, not to sit abruptly. Okay, velo litracht fe, and not to force himself over too much. Dahai karkashta atlat shine yativ, right? All right, because the rectum rests, so to speak, okay, on three teeth, on three, really what we would call three, I would say, ligaments, let's say, all right? Dilma mishtamta shine de karkishta. Perhaps one would dislocate these ligaments and endanger their lives. Va'ate lidei sakana, and then bring danger on themselves. Amarle, so his father said to him, Hu asik b'chaye de beraita. He is involving in matters of health and human well-being. Va'at amart b'mile de alma, and you say these are things of secular general knowledge. Kol shekain zil legabe. How much more so should you go and spend learning with him. And that's where we're going to stop right there today. Okay, guys?
Good.
Okay, hope everybody had a good day yesterday. Stay well today. And if they're opening the pools this week and you are a pool person, so to speak, be careful there as well, all right?
Yeah. Well, also don't try Costco for wiping stones. I hear they're all out of wiping stones in Costco.
Okay, at Costco, thanks. I'll try Target instead.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah.
Very
Thank
good.
you,
Thanks.
Ralph.
Have a good day.
Take care, everybody.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay.